You know what? I need an intro after, like, when I start these things. I gotta work on that. What's going on? What's up, everyone? What's up, Propaganda Guild? I am GXG. I'm back. It's nice to see you guys. Nice to start getting things rolling back to the way it used to be. Welcome to the Political Black Pill Chapter 5, the Geniuses of Congress, the Stock Market Geniuses of Congress. I'm your host, GXG. And like every show that I begin with, this one's going to be a little bit different. Well, no, I always say that every show, don't I? Anyways, I want to welcome you guys to this Political Black Pill Chapter 5. Why do we call it the Political Black Pill? A lot of people think that just because you call things, you refer to as black pill, that, you're a nihilist in a sense. And, you want everything to be, you're an accelerationist. You want everything to go crash and burn. But they forget a part of the core philosophy that I'm constructing for myself is I want people to take a pessimistic approach to looking at current events when it relates to politics. And today's topic is going to be about how Congress and the stock market are almost one and the same. And we can say that they practice in something we like to call inside trading. Allegedly, I'm not entirely too sure. There's evidence there, but who knows, right? Why do we call it the black pill? Well, it's because it's time that someone opens your eyes to all the grifters, scammers, and and the people who are just selling you out to this establishment, selling you to the system. So I took it upon myself to elect myself to be the representative of this message. Of course, this definition of what the political black pill show, now we can consider this a show or podcast, whatever fancies you, where this is going. So what I want to do is just open your eyes to a more pessimistic view of the world. We don't advocate for people not to engage in the political process. Hell, we always say that you're better than us if you do, right? Go ahead and vote. Go ahead, go ahead, knock on doors. Go, be the grassroots for the candidate that you so choose to be, or elect yourself to be a candidate. Put yourself in the running. We love you for that. That gives us more to talk about. Now, we don't care if you're conservative. We don't care if you're liberal. We don't care about none of all that. We just care about what is being shown to you and what we could transfer it to make it different. What's going on, And I'm playing with people, to take the political black pill to realize that we're in a roller coaster and not really much of a car ride in the end stages of our system. People will say this capitalism or whatever you want view that as. So, just sit back, relax, enjoy the show, comment, like, subscribe, follow me. We're back in this thing, we're doing what we can, okay? So let's get it started here. All right. So I need you guys to understand something that's been going on lately. Oh, maybe I should have opened these links up. Oh my God. There we go. There's something going on that has been going on. That's currently going on. And I want most of you guys to realize that there's a game. I always say there's a game being played on you, right? I always refer to it as the finesse. The finesse is here. The finesse ain't going nowhere. And most of the American people are currently being finessed. I should start this with basically the salaries that people in Congress make, right? So we all know as members of Congress are multimillionaires, right? But their salary, the current salary that's shown to you, it's not sufficient enough for them to have the amount of wealth that they currently they have. So let's see. Here, look at my notes here. Try to make this a bit more structure. Give me a second here. Bear with me here. Where's the article at? Here it is. Bear with me here, guys. All right. So members of Congress make a living, right? They have to make a living, right? We live in a society in which money rules all. And what I want to do is just lay the framework for right now, and then we can, dissect it, talk about it, rant, rave, whatever you guys want to do. Insider trading talk. Oh yeah, of course. So this is just a presentation of the richest, the highest five players, the 5 highest paying jobs in Congress. I don't know if this is representative. Annual salary of $174,000. Senators, same salary. Majority and minority leaders, $193,400. I don't know if that music is copyrighted, so basically I'm just trying to. The presidential salary, I think it was like $400,000, right? No. Our presidential pro tempore, $193,400. Speaker of the House, $223,500. So what we know is, and here's a breakdown. Let's open this right here. Here's the breakdown of basically all the members of Congress's salary. All right, I'm just laying the groundwork here for you guys to understand that. For what it's worth, it seems like a comfortable living, right? It seems like a comfortable enough money to live off of. Hell, shit. If I made any of this 6-figure salaries that these people are getting paid, I'll be all right. Most of us would be all right. But for members of Congress, it doesn't seem like it's enough, right? It doesn't seem like they're getting paid enough. They have all this power, but it's just the wealth is lacking. So what do they do to basically supplement their income, right? And this is more for them the breakdown of like how much they make. So I want you to just take a good look at that as I put this set up right here. Get this set up. I should have most of these links set up, but I'm getting back at it, so things are kind of warm things back up. Hopefully you can bear with me here. How's everyone doing? I hope you guys are doing all right. All right. All right.
Sometimes it takes a ground-shaking event to get the public's attention.
Now, several lawmakers are under fire for selling major holdings.
All right. So I got the video popped up.
At the beginning of this stock market sell-off.
In March 2020, Senators Richard Burr, Kelly Loeffler, Dianne Feinstein, and James Inhofe were all accused of using insider information to profit in the stock market. And the news had a ripple effect.
Resignation. He must resign from the Senate and face prosecution.
Ultimately, this all comes down to greed.
It'll shock a lot of folks, but senators and members of the House are allowed to trade in individual stocks.
So understand this, right? If you were to yourself have insider information and knowledge that basically enables you to enrich yourself on the various the volatile stock market, like the gamble, the casino basically of the stock market, and knows the ins and outs of what's going on in companies, besides research, and have like direct connections to the specific events that would cause like shares to lose value, right, or shares to increase in values, or certain companies are gonna basically make it big on certain events are going to come, you know, that's the hookup, right? You'd be privy to like use that information to enrich yourself. But listen to this closely.
Burr, the chairman of the Intelligence Committee, stepping down.
Department of Justice is going to be closing the investigations.
Up until the 2008 financial crisis, lawmakers were under few restrictions and the public wasn't privy to much. In 2012, the Stock Act was passed to clean up Washington. But recent events have yet again thrust the issue of insider trading to the forefront.
The Stock Act is enforced by the Department of Justice and the Securities and Exchange Commission. And where do they get their funding? They get their funding from Congress, which is the very body that they are supposed to be regulating. So the Stock Act is good, but I think we need to do a whole lot better.
How big of an issue is insider trading in Congress? How does it work? And what's being done to stop it? The SEC defines insider trading as buying or selling a security in breach of a fiduciary duty or other relationship of trust and confidence, while in possession of material, non-public information about the security. Insider trading has long been the bane of Wall Street, its regulators, and law enforcement. And some Wall Street heavy hitters have paid a heavy price. But
you see, right? Basically, the normal population has to go through the regulatory body, right, and get the say justice, get the heat of the the law will come down on them. Basically, like I said, get a bit rusty because I've been off of this for a month, and I just need to catch back up and how to really get this message across. Basically, to tell you that these people that these people that you put on a shirt for, you go hoorah for, they're making a killing off you, right? They're making a killing off your vote. They're making a killing off of just having knowledge that you would otherwise never know about until months afterwards, right? They are proactive where you're reactive when it comes to like the knowledge of how the financial system is going and where it's going. Is it fair? Is it fair? That's a question I pose. Is it fair? I don't think it is.
insider trading isn't just done by wealthy financiers or celebrities. Politicians have unique insight into what most outsiders don't.
The size and scope of what Congress is involved in has broadened dramatically. I mean, whether it's healthcare, whether it's defense, whether it's financial markets, and they have market-moving information, and they're going to act on that information. I mean, information is king.
A groundbreaking 2004 study by a group of professors and researchers examined the records of U.S. senators between 1993 and 1998. The study found that a portfolio tracking the stocks that the U.S. senators bought during the same time period outperformed the market by 85 basis points each month, and a portfolio that tracked the stocks that the senators sold during the period lagged behind the market by 12 basis points. The study concluded that the senators knew appropriate times to both buy and sell their common stocks.
Either they're geniuses at trading on the stock market, or they had some inside information that we did not have.
Insider trading by
exactly, and that's what's going on. But are they going to deal with any of the consequences of their actions? No, they're their own regulators. So why would they punish themselves? It makes no sense. This is why I titled it what it is. Either they're stock market geniuses, or they probably have some information that you don't have. Let's say you decided to put some money into a stock, and all of a sudden, the value just plummets. You lose all that. Well, you lose all that money you put in. But they don't. They know exactly when to say, "Hey, look, this share is at its highest peak." A lobbyist has already told me, "Hey, they're not doing so well. They're let's say they're producing baby formula, and their vat is contaminated." And oh, you have that information, so you decided to dump that whole stock, sell it for the highest, sell it at its point before it fucking plummets. Its value plummeted. And everyone else loses money besides you. You just basically reallocate that to other companies who are able to produce baby formula. And that's just an example of what's going on around you. It's the game of finesse. This is what I keep telling you. You're in America, in the Western Hemisphere, in the Western world. It's a game of finesse. It's a game of have or had or be had. So let's continue forward.
Corporate insiders is a criminal offense. But those rules are ambiguous for congressional lawmakers.
If you sit on the Senate Armed Services Committee and you know that a bill is going to pass that's going to benefit certain defense contractors, and you buy stock based on that information, many legal scholars would say no, insider trading laws don't apply because it doesn't involve material corporate knowledge.
In 2006, the Stop Trading on Congressional Knowledge Act was introduced. It would prohibit members and employees of Congress from profiting on non-public information they obtained in their official roles. Its co-sponsors, Congressman Brian Baird of Washington, Congresswoman Louise Slaughter of New York, urged the Department of Justice to investigate how widespread insider trading was on the Hill. It received 13 co-sponsors and died shortly thereafter.
Of course it did. Of course it did. You think they're going to cinch on themselves? Would you? If you had knowledge? If you had knowledge enough, if you had the knowledge, the insider knowledge, basically to basically skyrocket your wealth, right? Why wouldn't you do it, right? And no one can come after you for it, right? There's always going to be a few voices that speak out and be like, hey, we need to regulate ourselves. We need to have some morals about this. And everyone else is just like, nah, hell no, we're not doing that. Shit, we're getting rich. Shut the hell up. We know these people. We know all the corporate lobbyists. We know the CEOs. We have lunch together. And they let us know what's going on. It may not be knowledge of the corporation. It's just, we know the trends and all. We could beat the S&P 500 ourselves. Geniuses. The
2008
right?
financial crisis turned out to be a free-for-all for insider trading on Capitol Hill. According to a Washington Post expose, 35 members, including then Minority Leader John Boehner, cashed out on information they received from meetings with Treasury Secretary Hank Paulson and others.
So I think there had always been sort of an understanding that this behavior was going on, and there was evidence that it was. But when you had the virtual collapse of the markets in 2008, it really brought into relief in a dramatic way. That was really sort of a seminal event because it offered this laboratory, this test case that you could examine.
A 2020 study published in the Journal of Finance found evidence of abnormal trading practices 30 days before the government dispersed stimulus funds during the 2007 to 2009 financial crisis. Those trading practices were most pronounced from corporate insiders with recent political connections.
That is a good and necessary thing.
In 2012, the Stop Trading on Congressional Knowledge Act, or STOCK Act, finally passed.
We were sent here to serve the American people and look out for their interests, not to look out for our own interests.
What the Stock Act did.
That was a lie.
Nope.
That was a fucking lie. That is a fucking lie. You don't think Congress is going to look out for their own interests? You're buddy with the very same financial leaders or corporate leaders, and they tell you over lunch what's going on with their businesses and their other rival businesses. And basically, you can take that knowledge and rearrange your portfolio to enrich yourselves. Why wouldn't you do it? Especially in this overbearing capitalist society where, the rich just use whatever means they can to fuck over the rest of the people. Then why not do that? Why not do that? Most of us will look at it and be like, yeah, that's foul. We shouldn't do that. We should have more regulations upon Congress. Members of Congress shouldn't even have access to their portfolio when they serve in Congress. Maybe that's a way to limit their, that's a way to, how do I say this? Have like a term limit. You're only going to make the salary that you make. You're going to serve the American people as you do. You won't be able to enrich yourselves. So there'd be no point for those bad actors in Congress, those ghouls, to make a dime off you, because you're gonna lose money at the end. You're not gonna beat these people. These people have it all. They have it all, and the game's being run on you.
It made perfectly clear that members of Congress stand in a position of trust and confidence, and that duty is owed to the U.S. government and to the citizens of the United States.
This time, the bill passed overwhelmingly, 417-2 in the House and 96-3 in the Senate. Senator Burr, a Republican from North Carolina, was one of 3 senators who voted against it.
You also had this sort of interesting confluence in American politics at the time. You had Occupy Wall Street, which was primarily a liberal left phenomenon. You had the Tea Party, which was a libertarian or conservative movement, both very distrustful of what was going on Wall Street and what political figures were doing as it related to financial regulations, et cetera. So those, I think, brought together a consensus point and led to the passage of the Stock Act.
In March 2020, news spread that 4 U.S. senators, including Burr, were being investigated for insider trading.
Ahead of the drastic escalations in this pandemic, while still reassuring citizens that the U.S. was prepared.
Senator Burr vehemently denies the allegations against him, but here's what we know. On January 24th, the Senate's Health Committee held a briefing with CDC Director Robert Redfield and White House Pandemic Advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci, according to the Washington Post. About 2 weeks later, Burr and Tennessee Senator Lamar Alexander wrote a Fox News editorial that the U.S. was better prepared than ever to deal with a pandemic like the coronavirus.
And herein lies the game. Basically, they set most people up for failure so they can enrich themselves, right? All I got to do is divert your attention. Occupy Tea Party. All I got to do is divert your attention from what's actually going on, so you can be reactionary in your portfolio and what stocks you decide to invest in, right? So you just hear like, hey, nothing's going on, things are going well in this particular avenue. Let's say health-wise with the American people, you don't have to worry about all the things going on around the world and how everyone else is getting affected. We're secluded in our bubble, right? And but in the background, they're selling. They're making sure that they take all their money out on all the assets that are not going to bring them the most returns. It's the game being played. You're told one thing, so they do the opposite to enrich themselves. It's almost like you don't have to believe anything that members of Congress, well, most politicians, not all, of course, say something's going on. You have to automatically believe the opposite of it. Political black pill. You have to take that message in a pessimistic way. Just say, no, fuck that. No. Something's going on here. And most people, with a general understanding of politics, can always infer that. They always can arrive to that conclusion. So let's continue forward.
Less than a week later, the Dow set an all-time record, hitting just over 29,551 points.
And that's the point of comfortability. This is what I'm saying. Like, the game is being played, right? All things are well, things are fine. Maybe I'm gonna put my investment a little bit more into these certain companies, or invest broadly, and everything is gonna be okay. It's just the line's just gonna go up and up and up and up and up.
February 13th, Burr sold between $630,000 and $1.7 million worth of investments. He did it in 33 separate transactions, and he didn't buy a single share. Perhaps worse, Burr may have discussed the stock sales with his brother-in-law and others, according to reporting by ProPublica and a secret recording obtained by NPR.
There's one thing that I can tell you about this. It is much more aggressive in its transmission than anything that we have seen in recent history. It's probably more akin to the 1918 pandemic.
Not only is that turning it into a conspiracy, but
So you see the games being played because it's been laid out for you. He told people, hey, there's nothing to worry about. But behind closed doors, in their secret room, their secret meetings, everyone else is getting in on the action, and you're not. I wish I had the soundbite. Basically, George Carlin saying, it's the big ass club, and you're not in it. But I know one thing you are, and you should basically keep telling yourself this, especially when it comes to these particular events that happen in America.
You're a victim.
You're a victim of all this. You're a victim of all this. You don't have this knowledge. But do they face any consequences? We already know. This is already passed up. We know that they face no consequences at all because they're their own regulators. It's like a large corporation that pollutes a lake, right? And basically, no one can do nothing about it. And the corporations, are yelling and screaming to the people, the town folk, like, hey, there's too much pollution. You guys need to start recycling. Everyone else is sitting there scratching their head like, hey, but you're the main polluter. You're the main problem. And then the corporations say, oh, wait, you're right. There is a problem. There is something we should do about it. How about this? The lakes are polluted. All the livestock is basically deceased. So we're gonna investigate and look into our own pollutants and see how much we're polluting this lake. Right? And everyone's like, okay, that doesn't sound correct. So time passes, and then we wait for the report, and the corporations find out, oh no, they're polluting at a reasonable and imaginable way that's within the legal limit, right? In actuality, they're not. They fudge the numbers a bit. People talk, some people get fired, and since they were their own regulators, they're not going to find themselves guilty of it. It's almost like the police too. Like internal investigations of a cop that goes fucking rogue and decides to beat an American halfway to death. And then the police basically said, "Oh, we're gonna investigate this." Years pass on by. Oh yeah. We found that there was no evidence that this police officer did the crime in which he beat a person half to death. The person was no angel either. Just don't look behind the curtain, and things will be okay. Let's continue.
Creating potential witnesses against you. I mean, the brother-in-law is going to be questioned by the FBI, and either he's going to have to be honest and possibly incriminate.
You need prior authorization.
Or he's going to lie, and that's a crime in and of itself.
Burr released a statement. I relied solely on public news reports. I spoke this morning with the chairman of the Senate Ethics Committee and asked him to open a complete review of the matter with full transparency.
Yes, Scott, Mitch McConnell just announcing that Senator Burr is going to step down as the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee.
That investigation into his trades is ongoing.
He had already announced he was not going to run for re-election in 2022, so perhaps he was going to save his retirement. I don't know, but it was a very egregious case.
Georgia's junior Senator Kelly Loeffler was at the same January 2020 briefing as Burr, and over the next 2 weeks, Loeffler and her husband Jeffrey Sprecher, the CEO of Intercontinental Exchange and chairman of the New York Stock Exchange, sold between 1.2.
Come on now. You're married to the literal CEO of the stock exchange. Come on now. No one saw this. No one thought, this might not do. This is a bit fishy here. Like, he's married to the literal dude who probably knows what's going on in the stock market. Probably has the inside information on many things, and just allegedly. Allegedly, of course. I'm not going to until they're found guilty in the court of law, I have to say this is all alleged. We know what's going on.
In $3.1 million worth of stocks.
And also purchases a big chunk of stock in Citrix, which runs like telemeeting software, which just seems like amazing luck.
I don't find out about these trades until these reports are compiled at the end of the reporting period. So I had no knowledge of these companies. And in fact, it was a mix of buys and sells.
Oklahoma.
That's one big ass fat lie. You see the game being played to you. You see the teleprompter reading. You see how you're being finessed. All these people are just basically looking out for themselves. It kind of makes you wonder. Who voted for this bitch? Who voted for this asshole? Whoa, you playing a little culture war? Is that the reason why you're voting for her? Even though, she's taking the insider knowledge of... Let me rephrase this. You sacrifice your family, your livelihood for these people to extract enough wealth from you to live 4 or 5 lifetimes. Is that starting to making sense? Is it not? It's because because right now most of the discourse in regards to politics is always like this stupid cultural war nonsense. When a game is being played right in front of you, right? As we become more and more divisive, these people are just hitting the treasury, looting the treasury, and running. They're gone. There's nothing that, and it seems like there's nothing that we could do. All we have is
emotional damage.
At the end of the day, emotional damage. What are you going to do? Can you vote to change this? maybe you can go out there and vote and bring your candidate in, and your candidate decides, oh, okay, we need to do something. We need to add more legislation instead of the Stock Trading Act, and really like hammer down on all these members of Congress who's enriching themselves over this insider knowledge. We need to do that, right? And then you vote for your candidate, you root for the candidate, you win out, you spend hours of your lives campaign, assisting the campaign, knocking on doors, passing out flyers, posting on Twitter. Basically, your social media has become a second account for the political candidate that you're rooting for, right? That you want to pass and see, get a seat at the table, right? And all of a sudden, years pass, and you see nothing, you hear nothing, and then a news report comes out that they decided that they did the same exact thing that you were trying to vote out. Period. End up trying to vote out in the first place. It's all a game, folks. It's how you play this game is the most important thing, the most important factor, right? We still got a lot more things to touch on. Kelly Loeffler, right? Yep.
Senator Jim Inhofe sold as much as $400,000 in stocks on January 27, 2020.
We're learning that this insider trading investigation on Capitol Hill by the FBI is more wide-ranging than we knew even this morning. Senator Dianne Feinstein's office now confirming
the lone Democrat to be implicated, California Senator Dianne Feinstein, and her husband are reported to have traded somewhere between $1.5 million and $6 million worth of stocks in a nearly 3-week period between January 31st and February 18th.
It's a very troubling sort of thing. And my point would be that ought to be investigated. How you prove in a legal context insider trading is one issue, but we'd be better off with a system that simply said,
what is this, CB? All right. Quick 40-second.
Radical liberal Raphael Warnock.
Oh, yeah.
Radical liberal Raphael Warnock. Radical liberal Raphael Warnock. Radical liberal Raphael Warnock. My opponent, radical liberal Raphael Warnock. Radical liberal Raphael Warnock. My opponent, radical liberal Raphael Warnock. My opponent.
You get the gist. Basically, a fucking robot. Hey, one thing you can give it to her. It's a really good robot.
You can't own private equities in this manner, or your assets that are
He was fucking married to the chairman of the NASDAQ. Exactly. That's what I was getting at. Like, no one sees this going on. Are we going insane now? Are we all crazy? No one sees this. No one sees this. No one says, "Hey, this might be a huge conflict of interest." She's literally married to the fucking CEO, the chairman of the NASDAQ. How is she not going to be ultra fucking wealthy from that? How is she not going to have insider information? Even by proxy, even just sitting across the room or across the 10-story mansion all the way down the hallway. She's still going to overhear some information that she was not supposed to know before the public. And who are these reports? Most corporate reports are already printed out for, like, the corporation to, like, handle, the accountants, blah, yada, yada, right, etc. You understand, right? The people who basically work for the corporation already have this knowledge, right? Before they report it to the necessary bodies for, everyone else to make their decisions on how they're going to trade, right? They have that information. Well, who's to say that these people don't report to their particular lobbyist and tell them, hey, such and such is happening. We have this new product that's gonna basically revolutionize the industry, and we already have the backing. We already have the chain, the supply chain is looking good and healthy enough for us to have this product out, right? And it's gonna revolutionize a lot of things, and a lot of people are gonna love this. Maybe you slide in some 10 G's and this particular congressperson, or take him out for a nice dinner and a new car or something, and just leave the keys there. Just tell him, hey, your daughter is going out to college. Your daughter is turning 16 and she could use a new car, just a little favor, right? And also, I heard about this new product that might come out and it's going to be fantastic. You might want to buy 5%, or you want to repair probably 1,000 shares in our company, just out of nowhere. You do that, and then they do that, and they get wealth. They get a fucking 82% return on their investment. And everyone's happy, but you, because you decided to sell it.
Wall Street Journal is reporting, according to its sources, that the Department of Justice is going to be closing the investigations of...
On May 26, 2020, the investigation into Loeffler, Feinstein, and Inhofe was closed.
If you're very sophisticated about this, you're going to be able to get away with it and have enough plausible deniability so that you're not going to be held into account.
Meanwhile, the presidential campaign of Joe Biden announced in July 2020 it was banning stock trading by staff members. The decision came a few months after a pointed March warning from the SEC against illegal trading during the coronavirus disruption. The Trump campaign did not respond to CNBC's request for comment on its stock trading policy.
Motherfucker ain't gonna show his own tax return. You think asking him about his portfolio? You think he's gonna tell you about his portfolio? You think Trump's gonna tell you about his fucking portfolio? You think any of them not gonna want to? Bruh, we're Republicans. We do what the fuck we want. We run this bitch. You're not getting any information from me. That's basically what they said.
Members of Congress had long believed the best check on conflicts of interest for insider trading was the fact that they stood for election every 2 years, and they felt that disclosure, as well as the accountability that comes with holding elective office, was a sufficient check to prevent them from financially taking advantage of their positions. It wasn't. So the Stock Act was supposed to put an end to congressional insider trading, and to a large extent it has. Greg Holman, a government affairs lobbyist with Public Citizen, has worked closely on the Stock Act. He conducted a study on trading in the Senate in the 3 years prior and the 3 years after the act was passed.
Okay, let's see what's going on here. Yes, the whole thing, by the way.
Reduced stock trading activity by members of the U.S. Senate by 2/3. However, the other finding was of the 1/3 of the senators who are still actively trading, they are trading in stocks and businesses that they directly oversee from their official duties in the U.S. Senate.
It's often said the best solution would be just to prohibit members of Congress from owning stock altogether.
The markets are so key to my retirement future, your retirement future. If we had an entire class of decision makers in Washington, D.C. that had zero interest or stake in how markets were doing, I think that would create a dangerous disconnect.
In 2018, Senator Elizabeth Warren proposed a sweeping new legislative package.
Or we can find a counter policy or countermeasure to the fact that we're disallowing you when you run for when you hold political office at the federal level, when you hold political office, period, that you're enabled to trade stocks or portfolios, right? It shouldn't even be, you shouldn't even have any, it could be one or two things, right? Either ban it all together, get rid of it, you can't do it, your portfolio is frozen, you're unable to trade stocks and bonds, whatever the case may be, right? That's just completely, right? And that's frozen until you leave office. It'll be like a soft term limit. Or what you could do is you relinquish your portfolio to someone else that's non-family member or nothing like that. Maybe an entity, a public entity that has a fiduciary responsibilities to basically allocate your resources and your in your investments and to maximize your retirement or whatever the case be, or whatever your goals are for your portfolio. That could be something else, but you have no say so or nothing like that. All you have to say so is yes or no, right? You can't really go from there, right? And every single interaction you have with this broker, it's recorded, and everything must be in writing. It has to be like videotaped as well. Like that's how much it needs to be cracked down. We don't understand. Like after the pandemic or what happened with Loeffler and Burr and whatnot, a huge sore in our political process, in our basically in our government was shown, right? It's the pimple was hiding under makeup, the huge boil under the tumor, this trying to hide the tumor, and something needs to be done. And is it going to be done? I highly doubt it. I think this is just going to get ramped up even further, especially with the recent events that are going on in the world, especially what's going on and overseas with the war in Ukraine and Russia, between Ukraine and Russia. There's also information about how certain members of Congress who work within defense allegedly had the information before the invasion started, and allocated their resources or allocated their money to certain defense contractors that would directly oversee what's going on over there in Ukraine. Is it starting to make sense? Is the money trail starting to make sense of like where things are headed? All right, you follow the money enough, you know that you can basically pinpoint what's going on in Congress. That's all you really have to do is follow the money, because they all worship it. They all want it for themselves, to the degree that they're willing to overtly exploit you. And remember, this money that they're using, most you're using is your tax dollars. It's your hard-earned work. It's money being skimmed off the top of the time that you'll never receive back. This is why it's an issue. But a lot of people think this subject is kind of like boring, and they won't pay attention to the matter, right? They'll just like whisk it away and like, it's too complicated. Let the people who are like more financially literate and understands at least the ins and out of it to a greater extent that I want to think about things, let them handle it. And then this game, this finesse is being played on you. This is all. It seems like it's all part of a plan. It seems like the more and more we tie our we try to defund our education and try to basically, I think DeVos said not too long ago, just outright get rid of the Department of Education. Most of our kids growing up, most children growing up, hell, most generations now have no financial literacy whatsoever, no financial understanding of the capitalist system that they live in, right? And that's the beginning steps. There's much more complex things that are going on around you. You will be in over your head if anyone explained it to you, right? But hey, who am I?
I'm just an average guy who read public documents where the elite said they were going to enslave us and destroy America, and I'm not going to be like yuppie scum and deny the threat to my country.
Who am I? Who am I to bring about this information and talk about this again while everyone else is talking about petty drama shit, petty bullshit, trying to get you to like basically sinking your teeth and your time into utter nonsense? When this game is being played right in front of you, we need to prioritize more and more of these topics than the topics that are being espoused right now in different political circles. Come on now, you're more educated than that. You're smarter than what you think you are. Enough of this bullshit. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. What are we doing, right? Your time could be well spent on prioritizing and understanding the things going on around you politically that affect you or affect your neighbors, your community, your state, your city, your town, whatever, your suburbs, whatever the case may be. This all affects you. It really does. We've seen the effects of the pandemic and on us. And the people who enrich themselves, they could give less two fucks about you, as long as they make that quick buck. And what are you gonna do about it? Argue on Twitter with a whole bunch of randoms and nobodies who don't give a fuck, wouldn't piss on you if you're on fire. Where's that gonna take you? Huh? Where's that gonna take you? Have you looked up any of the local elections? Have you looked up the primaries? Have you seen the candidates are going? Huh? They're going up for your city, town, your state. Are you trying to amplify their voices? If you care about the political process to that degree, this message doesn't really adhere to the ones that decided that they're going to check out, which is fine too. As long as you have an understanding that you can basically bring the message to the people to let them know that this is just all a finesse. That's at least something, right? But speaking to the wind. Right now, it's just just playing in the petty nonsense. Identitarian circus. Financial illiteracy. Regurgitation of terrible talking points from bad faith people That's all. That's all everyone wants to do. No one wants to pay attention to this. It's happening again. That's the funny thing. It's going to happen again. And all we got to do is sit on our pedestal. Just sit down. Just sit on our chairs and type it up. Told you so. Told you so this is happening. Told you this has been happening. What were you doing? What have you been doing? No one's waking up to the fact that this is going on around them. But, hey, the message to the wind, apparently, right?
The Anti-Corruption and Public Integrity Act. The main intent is to eliminate the influence of money in the federal government.
It's time to ban elected officials and senior agency officials from owning or trading any company stocks while in office. They can put their savings in conflict-free investments like mutual funds, or they can pick a different line of work.
That bill does strike a balance, which I think is very important. We want them to embrace it and be concerned about how the market is performing, but we don't want them to be able to manipulate it.
But Warren's proposal goes even further. It includes a lifetime ban on lobbying for presidents and federal lawmakers, among other things. The bill most likely to get traction, at least at the moment, is the Ban-Conflicted Trading Act proposed by Democratic Senators Sherrod Brown and Jeff Merkley. We asked Senator Sherrod Brown about the bill, and his office sent us the following statement.
It's simple. Members of Congress should not be allowed to own individual stocks in individual companies, then vote on those same issues because of its conflict of interest. And owning stock by itself is a conflict of interest because we vote on all kinds of things that affect families and affect this economy.
I've been able to round up a lot of endorsements within the academic community and civic groups. And so we are hoping that we can get it moving.
Getting either bill through a divided Congress could be challenging, particularly in an election year and particularly during a pandemic. But if the Democrats do manage to take the Senate and presidency, the chances of passage go up exponentially.
People, I think, are becoming...
Do you wonder how when this video was this made? You guys ever wonder? Like, you guys were wondering, like, wait. If? What do you mean, if? Let's see. Much better.
In a way, skeptical that the process is clean in Washington, D.C. And I think that skepticism actually is a very good thing for an informed electorate.
Reformers ride on the scandal to try to get some of this legislation through, and I'm hoping to see that happen again.
Yeah, it didn't happen. Joe Biden became president, and then nothing actually happened from there. Don't expect people making the laws to be in rush to limit their power. You know, it's like, it goes without saying. You think just because a different color shirt it's in political power that they're gonna change what makes them like wealthy beyond all means? Like, come on now. Honestly, we say that members of government should not be allowed to own stocks, and people who work in major corporations shouldn't be allowed to run the government agencies, but at minimum, they should be put to stock in blind trust. Athletes aren't allowed to gamble on games they're involved in. That's a really good point. Just throw them all in prison, no fines, just long sentences. Of course, we have an authoritarian reactionary, and I'm not going to read a Ronald Reagan quote. The easiest solution would be that members of Congress can't own individual stocks. Instead, limit them to owning ETF funds. Can't believe it's still legal in the U.S. You know, Martha Stewart went to jail for the same thing that this couple did. Now she's up for senator of Georgia. This is all a year ago, by the way. The ability to create something that cannot be copied in a digital world is of immense value. Many will build a business on it. I would recommend Melissa Ellis to okay, whatever. So, now that we talked about what's been going on, let's see who's been cashing out of the alleged insider trading, right? Let's look at the 25 wealthiest members of Congress. And remember, when I showed you this chart right here, I showed you, we see exactly how much money that they make. So contrast that to the amount of terms that they serve, and those years, and do the math yourself and see if the numbers add up. All right. So let's look at the 25 wealthiest members of Congress. This will be a little fun spin here, a little razzle dazzle, while we're just screaming.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
All right. So starting with number 25, Representative Ralph Norman, a Republican from South Carolina, with a net worth of $20 million, 20.6 to be exact. Norman was elected to college in a special election in 2017 after President Donald Trump appointed his predecessor, Mick Mulvaney. Hold on, let me turn down the music a bit. Why are you so loud? I'm trying to stream. Be subtle. Okay, cool. The congressman owns an extensive array of I'm guessing it's real estate, real properties, mutual funds, and several individual retirement accounts. One of Norman's IRA is worth $5 million. Norman and his wife also hold more than $100,000 in stock in ExxonMobil. Norman also reported 4 liabilities worth a total of $2 million, each in connection to his property investments. So here it is. Representative Sandra Jacobs, a Democrat from California, $21 million, 21.4. A newcomer in Congress in 2021, like I stated before, you decided to, campaign, go to the grassroots, knock on doors, bother people at their workplace and at their place of peace, and said, hey, I got this new person that I want to put in on. They care about all the progressive bullshit that I believe that they're going to place in, they're going to fight for in Congress, right? And try to, bring about the policies that are going to bring up a real change. No, you're going to get finessed. It's just happened. You're bringing fresh meat. You're throwing people into the poison well, into the poison lake. I like to think, right? Or into the quicksand of the system. It's a slow but steady pace of corruption. So think of it as quicksand, right? Think of it as like the person and they step into the quicksand of the system, the establishment, the capitalist oligarch, whatever. It's just a fucking terrible system, whatever you want to identify as or phrase it to be, right? Think of it as quicksand. Right? You step on it, things seem relatively normal, and then they start sinking. They themselves start talking to other members of Congress and try to come up with ways to fix the system and to come to slowly realize that the system was designed the way it is to not help the American people, but to basically benefit only a select few of elites, right? And then the quicksand gets to just about feet high. You're deep in, and now you want to start take off running. You want to do different social media campaigns and just rally up the people to see if you can get your feet off the sand and make about some sort of change. You might even pass a small policy to a legislation or two. You might get passed through the House and you pat yourself on the back. Oh, damn. Yes, we did it, right? I gathered enough votes for this bill to be passed in the House. It's going to go to the Senate and die, but, I did something, right? Something I tried, right? And now the sand gets knee deep. And all of a sudden, senior members of Congress comes and start whispering in your ear. Oh, I saw how you did that bill and how you rallied up support for it. It was a good job. I voted for it too, right? So when are you getting lunch? You think to yourself, well, the new political candidate that was voted in thinks to themselves, well, it's just lunch. It's not going to hurt. This person's a corrupt demon that's been in office for decades and shouldn't even be here. It's basically the antithesis and the reason why I decided to run. Now the sand is waist deep, and you had a couple of lunches, and then all of a sudden a veteran member of Congress drops a bomb on you, like, hey, gas, Barry, we're getting really low on gas. Like, hey, what do you think? Like, what does your portfolio look like? Just asking about my portfolio. Nothing wrong with that. Like, I got some investments in solar panels and whatnot because, I invest in what I believe in. Ha ha ha. And it's like, yeah, solar panel. And they let you know, like, hey, we might go to a war with another country in the Middle East and take some resource, allegedly. Maybe we should look into these companies, and just take that money out and switch it. No harm, no foul. You're already waist deep in it. It's been a year or 2, 3 years, and you're gonna run for re-election soon. You're trying to get some funds together for your campaign. Now you're shoulder deep. Now you're just basically going through the motions of an already poisoned system, a system designed to corrupt you slowly but surely. A frog in a boiling pot, slow boiling pot. Now you already had in it. Now you become the exact same person that you fought against. Starting to make the connection here. Is the connection starting to make sense? That was a little ramble, but let's continue. And that was all from just hearing the sentence. A newcomer to Congress in 2021. Nearly all Jacob's wealth is sorted in a trust that was created in 2009. The trust contains government securities, mutual funds, nothing wrong with that, and more than $6 million in stock of Qualcomm, so phones, processors, and stuff like that. A semiconductor company co-founded by her grandfather, Ira M. Jacobs. So this is already born into wealth. Already had the silver spoon. But you were probably born in like a dirty tub in a trailer park and just try to scrounge by with whatever resources available to you, and your hardworking parents who are nearly like on death's door trying to keep food and the lights on. Other notable stocks owned by Jacobs includes more than 100,000 investment stocks in Apple, Microsoft, and MasterCard, established companies. Jacob listed one liability for financial disclosure, a mortgage on a Washington, D.C. property worth at least $500,000. John Rose of Tennessee. We're not going to read all of them. Reported an ownership stake in several residential buildings across the country. Rose owned at least $500,000 worth of stocks in Citizens banks and more than $100,000 worth of Alphabet stock, Google. And he reported 100% ownership of Rose Farm, worth between $5 million and $25 million. Rose submitted information for one liability, a monthly balance on his credit card amounting to at least $15,000. That's fractions of a penny for a multimillionaire, by the way. Fred Upton, $24 million. Dean Phillips, Democrat, $24 million, 24.7. Ken Hearn, Republican, 26.7. Kathy Manning, Democrat, North Carolina, 27.2. Don Bayer, Democrat, Virginia, 29.8. David Trone, Democrat, Maryland, 32.9. What a leap. Jay Obernorn, Republican, from California, 39.25. Scott Peters, Democrat, California, 39.7. Nancy Pelosi, Democrat, California, 47.1 million. She's only 14 on the list. The Speaker of the House. Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, reported personal wealth spread out amongst property holdings, mutual funds, and stocks owned by her husband. The only asset that Pelosi reported owning or joint owning were her home in Napa, California, and Wells Fargo bank account containing less than $15,000. So this is where I like to talk about the finesse game. The game of basically laying out the curtains, right? This is the curtain that people will mostly see, not the person behind the curtains and all the skeletons that they're hiding, right? In the bodies. So they'll show you this like, hey, look, I'm just like you guys. I don't have that much money. I'm scrounging too. It's only $15,000, which is still a lot of money for most of us. And Matthew Perry voice, the system was rigged from the start. Bang. Exactly. Pelosi holdings husband had holdings in corporations such as Slack, that's basically a financial institution that links accounts and whatnot. Tesla, Disney, Visa, Salesforce, PayPal, Alphabet, Facebook, and Netflix. Damn. Silicon Valley investor, huh? Oh, I wonder how that Q is doing. Companies that together spend tens of millions of dollars each year lobbying the federal government. Pelosi reported at least $20 million in liabilities that mostly involve mortgages on properties in California and Washington, D.C. Well, of course. Remember, that's the Speaker of the House. How much does the Speaker of the House make? $223,500 yearly. Maybe Pelosi's so old and she served so many terms that she probably can get away with. You probably could do the math and be like, close, right? Susan Delborn, Democrat, Washington, 52.156. Representative Peter Meyer, a Republican in Michigan, 60 million. 60.5. Representative Roger Williams, a Republican from Texas, 67.4 million. Primary spending mutual funds, Felix Select Slot, blah, 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 blah. Representative Dory Matsui, a Democrat from California, $73.8 million. Matsui's husband, Roger Saint, is the founder of the AES Corporation, a Fortune 500 holding company specializing in electricity generation and distribution. Matsui's listed holdings were spread out among exchange trade funds, money markets, limited liability companies, and trusts. She reported at least $165,000 in liabilities in the form of credit card debt through various banks. When you're worth $73.8 million, that's nothing. That's nothing. See, Nancy has enough money. Stops texting me. Exactly. Representative Trey Hollingsworth, Republican, Indiana, $74.6 million. All right, we're in the top 10 now, guys. Richard Blumenthal, a Democrat from Connecticut, $85.2 million. Senator Mitt Romney, a Republican from Utah, $85.2 million. How does one become a millionaire in Utah? That should be a fucking investigation in itself. Who has that much money in Utah? Come on now. That should be an investigation itself. That should be all the red flags. Every single person working for the IRS would be like, nah, this is not possible. Utah shouldn't have no more than $1 million to that state. But you know, I'm being facetious. I'm playing, joking here, right? I hate it so much. Utah got LDS war chest. Senator Mark Warner. Oh, Portnico brought up something that I should mention. Nancy, some of you guys are getting emails and text messages from candidates that you would never vote for. You never put your basically the email list that a candidate that you believed in sold out that information to the majority of the Democratic Party, thus allowing them having that access to you, that information. I recommend turning on spam notifications, spam on your phone, like spam messaging, and like label that as spam. That way you'll never see it, and it'll be deleted in a week. That's what I do. That way I don't get it. For some reason, campaigns love doing that. It's a way they can make money. You ever notice that? Steal the LDS war chest to fund a revolution, like how Stalin robbed banks. Senator Mark Warner, a Democrat from Virginia, $93.5 million. I already know who's number one. I already saw this list, but this is fun. Like, it's like a Forbes list for people who rob you blind, and take that knowledge. And the trend that I see here, most of these Congress people are reporting that their money are all laid in trust or whatnot, and most of these people are also like silver spoon babies too. So if you're already ahead of the game, the only way you can move is up, right? Not unless you're a complete fucking idiot, which some of them are, but they still are more wealthier than you and I. or most of the state combined sometimes. Well, let's not say most of their state. Let's say half their state combined. Half of the workers in their state. I got you on that. Senator Dianne Feinstein, a Democrat from California, 96.5 million. Step your game up, Nancy. Step your game up, all right? You're not getting on Feinstein's level, bruh. You're not. You're just not. That's the only reason why she's still in office. I'm not going to let that bitch Nancy outdo me. You can keep the Speaker of the House. I make money, all right? I make fucking money. Bruh. I make fucking money, all right? Nancy, step your game up. Step your game up, Nancy. I'm an older bitch. I'm already older than you. Wait, who's older? Nancy Pelosi is 82 years old. I don't know how to spell that. I don't know how to spell Dianne Feinstein. 89 years old. Bruh. Bro, I got 7 years on you. And I'm getting that money. Get the fuck out of my face. Maxine Waters. Anyways. It's $1 billion tax loophole, Cold War chest. Mitt probably lives down the street from the benefactors of 10% tithing on church members. There's something. That's another thing that I'm gonna do a show as well. Religion in America, because we're starting to find. Oh no, we're starting to find out. What most Americans who haven't been paying attention to what's going on in their the political process and in their governments and the elected officials, and also the culture war per se, is that a lot of these policies and a lot of these regressive legislation and decisions from our judicial system, it's coming from basically outright fundamentalist, right? Religious nationalists or Christian nationalists, as MTG likes to point out, that, you know, it's starting to become more and more of a comfortable ideology. These people are starting to are comfortable saying that they identify themselves to be, right? Christian nationalists. Basically, what that is, from my current understanding, I have to do a bit more reading. Is they themselves pose to be that the God that it's hard to say. I'll save it for where I get my my thoughts lined up when it comes to that. All right. We're on number 4 now. All right, we're in top 5. All right, Dianne Feinstein made the list. Let's go. Vern Bachman, a Republican from Florida, $113.3 million. Ownership of several car dealerships, blah, blah, blah. Darrell Issa, a Republican from California, $115.8 million. Representative Mick McCall, a Republican from Texas, $125 million. You know, they have their assets everywhere. Let's check something out real quick. He was in office from, let's pop out the calculator too. All right, let's all do this in real time. All right, let's do some shitty math that some other fucking streamer is gonna roast us on. All right. Assumed office 2005. In office 2013 to 2019. Oh, this is preceded by. Bruh. Let's see. McCall introduces. Bro, how long he served? That's all I know is how long he served in Congress. Okay, so he started since 2005. Maintains that position in the 117th Congress. So 2022. All right, let's do some quick math. 2022. minus 2005. 17 years. 17 years. And he is a representative. Okay. How much do representatives make? All other representatives, 174,000. All right. 17 years. We could just add 400. Not that way. Per year for 17 years. $2.9 million. Currently, I see a big difference between these two numbers. Maybe he put his investments in really in places. Maybe, right? McCall is thought to be the second richest person in Congress, though none of the assets or holding reported in his 65-page financial disclosure were his alone, belonged to his wife or dependent children. The bulk of his fortune is from his wife, Linda, the daughter of the founder of the media giant iHeartRadio. The McCall family notably reported millions in limited liability companies and iShare funds, and at least $250,000 worth in Netflix stocks. McCall did not list any liabilities or debt in his financial disclosure. It seems like what you really got to do in America is be born with a silver spoon or marry one, or convince someone to marry you to bring you into their fortune. Remember, this is number 2. This isn't the biggest skeezer and lizard in Congress right now. Or was in Congress. Who knows? Number 1, the big lizard himself, Senator Rick Scott, a Republican. $200 million. 200.3. Okay, whatever. I had to add that one. That's a huge leap. Scott, who assumed office in 2019, cement his number 1 spot in the list. I think this list has probably changed since now, since the writing of this article. Through the extensive holding in stocks, bonds, LSCs, private equity funds, gold trusts, and treasury notes, Scott holds relatively few individual stocks. The senator is the co-founder of 2 healthcare companies, Columbia Hospital Corporation, now HCA Healthcare, and Solanic. He also worked as a venture capitalist, investing in several technology and healthcare companies. Scott did not list any liabilities or debt in his filings. Now let's look at let's look at this article that CP posted real quick, and just take a little quick break from the overall topic right now, and we'll get back to the poor fucks. All right, look at it. Look at this poor face. Look at this helpless slap. Get your game up. Why aren't you making capital? Okay. All right, you're literally in Congress. How are you broke? All right, and shave your head. All right, or take medicine. Ugh. Peasants. Am I right, guys? All right. I also want to change the music up a bit too. Bit subtle, bit good. All right. Mormon Church has misled members on 100 billion tax-exempt investment funds, whistleblower alleges. Wonder what happened to the whistleblower. Wonder what happened to him. Oh man, this is a long one. All right. You know, I wish sometimes articles had abstracts. I think more articles need abstracts. But sometimes when things like important like this happens, it kind of makes sense. A former investment manager alleges in a whistleblower complaint to the IRS that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has amassed about 100 billion in accounts intended for charitable purposes, according to a copy of the complaint obtained by the Washington Post. The confidential document received by the IRS on November 21st accuses church leaders of misleading members and possibly breaching federal tax rules by stockpiling their surplus donations instead of using them for charitable works. It also accuses church leaders of using the tax-exempt donations to prop up a pair of businesses. The church should not respond to detailed questions to the Post about the complaint and said in its statement Monday that it does not discuss specific financial transactions. Ooh, how convenient. How fucking convenient. Claims being currently circulated are based on the narrow perspective and limited information, said the statement attributed to the church's first presidency and its top governing body. The church compiles with all applicable law governing our donations, investments, taxes, and reserves. And we should believe these people, right? Because their institutions are built upon, truth and trust and facts, right? Based on internal accounting documents from February 2018, I skipped a whole bunch. The complaint estimates that the portfolio has grown in value from $12 billion in 1997. Jesus Christ. $12 billion in 1997? Oh, fuck. Most of the billionaires now that run the show, they're just, they literally just start the race at this point. Of course, without a large surplus of wealthy family, whatever. When Ensign was formed, it's to be about 100 billion today. Jeez, you're closer to Microsoft and a hedge fund. Doesn't put it past. It doesn't surprise me at all. It really doesn't. What's to be shocked about anymore in the country? Think about it. Back to my notes real quick. So we talked about the pandemic. Okay. So. Oh my God, look. The least wealthiest people only get their names. They don't get any. They don't get nothing else. A few members of Congress' minimum sum of liabilities far surpass the minimum sum of their disclosed asset. The 5 members' negative estimate wealth stems from high-priced mortgages. Lucio, a Democrat from California, negative $1 million. Stephen Harsford, negative $1 million. Cynthia Loomis, negative $1.4 million. Timothy Duckworth, Democrat, negative 1.87. August, Fluker, Republican from Texas, negative $2 million in liabilities. We could tell these 5, this list of 5 names are probably members of Congress that no one likes. And they get left out on this, they'll just get left out. Let's see. All right. Now, not all members of Congress are going to get out scot-free if they dive into, they participate in insider trading. This was from AP. Not too long ago. Ex-U.S. congressman among 9 charged in insider trading cases. It's probably get to the point where, if they actually arrested, all the members of Congress who participated in inside trading, we wouldn't have no politicians to run our government. So that's probably the reason why most of them will step back and be like, hey, maybe we should just slowly to have a functioning government, somewhat functioning government. to arrest a few people who get out. All right. AP reported former U.S. Congressman from Indiana, technology companies executives, a man training to be an FBI agent, and an investment banker were among 9 people charged in 4 separate and unrelated insider trading schemes revealed on Monday with the unsealing of indictments in New York City. It was the most significant attack by law enforcement on insider trading in decades, and a prosecutor and other federal officials pledged fresh enthusiasm for similar prosecutions in the future. They said the cheating resulted in millions of dollars of illegal profits from defendants situated on both coasts and in Middle America. Stephen Breyer was accused in court papers of engaging in insider trading during the $26.5 billion merger of T-Mobile and Sprint, announced on April 2018. See how long it fucking takes to actually like catch these people? To process all this shit? Jesus Christ. Imagine the poor sucker. Dude.
Really him. You're a victim.
I had to go through all the fucking paperwork. Who had to sit there and do all the math crunching and let it just bags into their eyes, just typing away like all this information. Oh, I want to be that person. Fire 63. The team was announced in 2018. An indictment identified him as someone who misappropriated secrets he learned as a consultant to make $100,000 illegally. Fire 63 of Noblesville, Indiana, was arrested Monday in his home state. He served on committees with oversight over the telecommunications industries while a Republican congressman through 1993 through 2011. Let me reiterate this. Let me reread this. Breyer, 63 of Noblesville, the irony of that state, Noblesville, Indiana, was arrested on Monday in his home state. He served on committees with oversight over the telecommunications industry while a Republican congressman from 1993 to 2011. We just saw in the video of how this is becoming more and more prevalent, especially after the Stock Trading Act, right? That basically members of Congress serve under these committees, have knowledge of what's going on with these companies and large corporations, be it consultants, lobbyists, or, they themselves were in the business, and they just know they can bring a few numbers and enrich themselves. And then this becomes the result of it. Do you not think that the other members of Congress are doing the same thing? Are you that dumb? I'm sure you're not, because you're watching me. He described as making purchases of Sprint securities in March 2018, just a day after attending a golf outing with T-Mobile executives who told him about the company's then non-public plan to acquire Sprint, according to a civil case brought against Breyer by the Securities and Exchange Commissions in federal court in Manhattan. This is exactly what I just told you what happens, right? They get in with buddies, they get along with buddies, they do favors, they go out to lunch, they have golfings, and just, all these little tidbits of information gets leaked out. It's not like it's not intentional. It's intentional. This is what they do. That's the game being played. And when they're out there, hitting golf in 2018, you out there struggling. You out there don't know what you do. You're in the negative. You have no money to feed yourself or your family. Your bank account is in the single digits. You try your damnedest to make it through. Oh, they're golfing, telling each other insider secrets. It's a big ass club, and you ain't in it. You are not part of the big ass club, and you won't never be part of it. Most of us wouldn't. Authorities said he also engaged in illegal trading in 2019 ahead of Navigate Consulting Inc., acquisition by consulting and advisory firm Guidehouse. Documents said he leveraged his work as a consultant and lobbyist to make illegal profits. This is just one dummy who got caught. The rest of them just finessing the system every day. This is happening every day, right now. Someone's throwing a dinner party right now with all the insider information that's being passed around with these members of Congress, consultants, and lobbyists. This is happening right now. But what are you worried about? What are you worried about? Some random dumb fuck streamer who's saying some stupid off the wall shit, right? So you can engage in petty discourse that amounts to nothing, right? You guys are not sharing like this important information was in prioritizing how a game is being played with you. I can't fucking say it. Golf, be right back. Calling Mal. I hear Mal. I got here as fast as I could. This is insanity. But hey, who am I, right?
I'm just an average guy who read public documents where the elite said they were going to enslave us and destroy America. And I'm not going to be like yuppies come and deny the threat to my country. I'm going to fight back.
Yeah. Who am I? Alex took it away. Right? But go ahead. Engage in what did I call it? Identitarian I don't know what it's fucking is. Oh, the identitarian circus. The reactionary circus. Engage in that cultural war bullshit. Right? Of course, I'm not saying like completely, disregard it. You dip your toe in it once in a while. Sometimes people love some drama, right? It's just something to spice up their day. When it's constant, you're hurting yourself. You really are. But I'm gonna go off with my representative, and they're gonna let me know some information too. We're gonna head off real well, this also is not like this whole insider trading thing and this that we're talking about here is not only about like members of Congress. It's more egregious because it's the members of Congress, but this is also happening at the community level, right? So what goes on is this same game, the same finesse of like how corporations and their representatives and their consultants speak with their community leaders, and basically they have a secret agreement and non-disclosures about what's going to go on around your town or city. And what's going to happen is they're going to most of the time the agreements is that, hey, we want to set up shop here, but we're going to have to pollute a shit ton. We're going to have to allocate taxpayer money into this building, right? Because that way, and also once that happens, we can also deduct that, and we also can have like a large kickback to me and our buddies, and the person, the community organizer, leader, or your representative, will agree to that. This is how the game is played, even on the micro level. We can talk about the macro level, what happened in the federal government, because it's more egregious of like huge events that transpire in this country. But we can also pinpoint it down to what's going on around in your local communities. Isn't it weird how every single time that you need money for infrastructure, money for education, there's no money to be found, right? For your kids to be educated, for you to travel to work, and also buy groceries. But for some reason, when there's a new stadium need to be built, or a new gigantic corporate building to be constructed, for some reason, hey, government has profits. The government has resources to help these large corporations set up shop. But money is running out for resources for you. The safety nets are getting thinner and thinner and thinner. That some people they just fall through. Most people are not even being caught right now. But the money for these gigantic buildings just pop out of nowhere. These toll roads, they're just out of nowhere. The resources and manpower come. Isn't it interesting, right? Remember to sit there and think about it. Crazy how law enforcement gets so much money when our kids need books and Inner city schools need a shit ton more resources. So, we don't produce criminals. We produce educators and at least active members in our society. I don't want to say too much law abiding because that sounds a bit cuckerish. But yeah, really think about this. This topic doesn't just only. This is what I'm talking about, the priorities and things that you should be arguing about. Mostly, But this,
I'm just an average guy who read public documents where the elite said they were going to enslave us and destroy America. And I'm not going to be like yuppie scum and deny the threat to my country. I'm going to fight back.
Yeah. Hey. Do what you want. Do what you want, right? All right. His lawyer, Andrew Goldstein, said in a statement, Congressman Burr is innocent. His stock trades were lawful. He looks forward to being quickly vindicated. U.S. Attorney Damian Williams told a news conference that the cases, in addition to several other recent announcement crackdowns on insider trading, represents a follow-through on his pledge to be relentless in rooting out crime in our financial markets. Financial crime is an extremely difficult practice, or an extremely difficult endeavor. Let's say that. Would you want to be a financial lawyer? Would you want to be the person who, behind the desk trying to solve financial crimes? Be the big ass nerd. What you want to do? Or what about the sweet homicide cases and missing persons and stuff like that? That's what that's the juice of the matter. Financial crimes, that's the back burner, right? Because in our society, we don't really pinpoint too many of the financial crimes. We don't really allocate our resources to cracking down as much financial crimes as we can. Isn't it crazy? Most of you already know this too. Most of you already know this. That's the funny thing about it. All right. We have zero tolerance for cheating in our markets, said Gruber S. Grinwall, director of the SEC Enforcement Division, SEC. When insiders like Burr, an attorney, a former prosecutor, and a retired congressman, monetize their access to material, non-public information, and alleged in this case, they are not only violated the federal securities law, but they also undermine public trust and confidence in the fairness of our markets. Burr said, there is no fairness in our markets. I don't know how many times you're going to hear that and people actually believe that bullshit. There is no free and there's no fair markets. From my understanding, right? I can't really sit on that too much because they're going to the people who know a lot more, and then, thus the results of them understanding it a bit more, they believe they're the bullshit even more, right? The bullshit that, the markets are fair and free or whatever the case may be. In a second prosecution, 3 executives at Silicon Valley technology companies were charged with trading on insider information about corporate mergers that one of them learned about from his employer. Indictment accused of Amit Bajid, 49 of San Ramon, California, who was the chief information security officer of Luminant Holdings, of using secret trades illegally and then giving the information to criminal associates, including 4 friends. The SEC said Bajad and his friend, I'm not saying that last name right, so don't think that's how it says, generated more than $5.2 million in illicit profits by trading ahead of 2 corporate acquisition announcements. So not only are they exploiting your labor, skimming a shit ton of value from you when you clock into your 9 to 5, and basically you keep the company going, they're also taking that money and illegally, and participating in insider trading to rake in even more money. It's a multi-layered, complex, multifaceted game that's finesse that's being played on you. Think about that. That's where your money is going. That's where the extra surplus value is going, right? It's going to play gambling games and illegal profiteering games. games, illegal profiteering. That's where it's going. And think about that, did you? It's like hopefully we lift the veil, lift the curtain a bit. Hopefully I can open your eyes a bit to what's going on with all that exploited and all that value that's being basically extracted from you involuntarily. So we're like, what are they doing with all that money? They're gambling. They're illegally profiteering. They're setting up shop. They're setting up policies. They're paying off their buddies. The big club. You ain't in it. And you will never be in that big club. Most of you. In a third case, Seth Markins of Washington Crossing, Pennsylvania, a man who was training to be an FBI agent, allegedly stole inside information from his then girlfriend, who was working at a major Washington, D.C. law firm. According to court papers, he and a friend made more than $1.4 million in illegal profits after he learned that Merck & Co. was going to acquire Pendonian Therapeutics. It was unclear who will represent Mark in court. Funny. Insider knowledge. Tricky thing. In a fourth indictment, an investment banker based in New York was charged with sharing secrets about potential mergers with another person on the understanding that the pair would share illegal profits of about $283,000. Oh, come on, bruh. Come on. Just come on. Just. Everyone is making out with millions and you only get a little bit more over a quarter. Come, just. Bruh. This. Jesus Christ, dude. And you're an investment banker. Attorney said that 7 out of the 9 defendants were arrested Monday, while 2 were arrested previously. So that goes to show that we saw the people who got away with it. Now we also see people who didn't so much get away with it. There's something in common with these stories and these articles that I've been sharing. There's something that hopefully is starting to light a fire in your, put a battery on your back. What's going on, and hopefully you can prioritize. Let's do this one. Prioritize what you should be arguing about in your social media spaces. Hopefully you're starting to understand what the political black pill represents. It's to take this information and have a pessimistic approach to these people who represent you, right? Again and again and again. I'm gonna reiterate this so people don't take this out of context or what this philosophy that I'm constructing does. It is not to disengage you from the political process. It's to make you more motivated in the political process. It's to make you angry, to make you do something about what's going on around you. Whether that's revolution, whether that's sitting in, whether it's protesting. This is what I'm trying to convey this message to you. It's not all shits and giggles that people are numbing you to the facts of life, right? This is contextually important for you to understand, and hopefully, as we grow, more and more people are going to be privy to this message. So that is the Political Black Pill, Chapter 5. The geniuses of Congress, the stock market geniuses of Congress, and this portion is going to relax and duke it out. Yeah, so if you like the message and you're watching this video and you watched it through and through, try to make it short as possible as well. Well, not short as possible, but lengthy enough where it's not too much of a drag and something you can listen to on your drive home, on your jog, or you're walking the dog, or the case may be. You see my extremely handsome face from a short king like myself. Decided I'm gonna click on it and just listen to what's going on. And I thank everyone who came through and decided that that gave me their viewership, and hopefully you can like, subscribe, follow whatever platforms that this is being shown. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tell you the next topic of this in the next chapter, of course. all, the next chapter, chapter 6, climate change. Burn, baby, burn. Burn, burn, burn. We don't give this we don't give a fuck. Let this world burn, motherfucker. Let it burn. It's a catchy title, isn't it? Hopefully we can talk about, we can take we could dissect our current world as we know it today about what's going on in climate change. Hopefully as we grow, there'll be a bit more, let me state this as a matter of fact, not just hoping. When we grow, more like more and more contributions to the topic, and more like links that people will share about the particular topic that we're talking about, and hopefully we can have fun with this, right? Hopefully we can let our minds wander and whatnot. Anyways, yeah, that's the overall goal. We have to grow. We gotta grow. There's no other choice but to grow, right? The propaganda guild, the doors are back open. The Coliseum lights are on. The show has been playing. All you have to do is show up. If you want to donate, that's cool. Don't have to. You want to go to the subscribe to the Patreon, that's cool too. There's the videos on the work. Don't quote me too much on this. The video that I'm working on right now. The title is called "The Destruction of Online Politics," and hopefully, that's something that you guys are into. Obviously, most of you guys are. Hey, we can deal with that. So, my name is JXG. I appreciate you guys showing up. I appreciate you guys being a part of the process. In the background, we'll work on that. We'll try to get things. We'll cover that and all the stuff that's going on. Anyways, as always, I'm going to leave you with a positive message. Of course I got to do it. Of course I have to. It's me, right? Thank you for tuning into the Political Black Pill, Chapter 5. The political geniuses, the stock market geniuses of Congress. I'm your host, JXG, and I'm going to leave you with this message. Make sure the message is, make sure that you get in touch with your spirituality, a side of you that most people often neglect, right? But whatever means are necessary. It doesn't have to be, whatever it means. It doesn't have to be religious. It doesn't have to be too structured. Just get in touch with your spiritual side. Maybe you can find some semblance of happiness in this cruel, corrupt world. Most of us can deal with this. Deal with what's going on if we get in touch more and more with the higher power. If not, you can't you're gonna find yourself in touch with your spiritual side. You can always hit us up. We're a more welcoming community. Stay classy.
God is white. First of all, white man, let me say that I love you, honor you, envy you, enjoy your smell, and I celebrate you in the name of white Jesus.
Thank you?
No, thank you. Look at that. That's a handsome young man, ain't it? Now, if God looked like Isaac Hayes, you think his son would look like this? That's right. Somebody out there is feeling the spirit.
I am. I feel it.
If you black of skin and full of sin, come forward so I may lay my hands on you.
Oh, thank you, Jesus.